The Ship of Fools, Episode 62, The Library of Past Due Lives. A page turns in space. The Shadow Quest drifted through a quiet region of space, the kind of calm that felt almost artificial after the revelations of the past days. The stars shimmered like distant lanterns, and the ship's engines hummed with a steady, reassuring rhythm. Then the hum faltered. Aurora's voice sharpened. "Commander, something is approaching." Banning straightened. "A ship?" "No," Aurora said. "A structure." The view screen flickered. Space rippled, not like a wave, but like a page turning. And then it appeared. A colossal library floated in the void, suspended in a halo of drifting stardust. Towers of stone and starlight spiraled upward, etched with symbols that rearranged themselves when stared at too long. Massive books orbited the structure like moons, their pages fluttering despite the vacuum. Snipes whispered, "I don't like it. It looks like homework." A voice echoed across the bridge, calm, ancient, resonant. "Shadow Quest, you are overdue." A figure materialized on the bridge in a swirl of stardust, tall, robed in galaxies, face hidden behind a mirrored mask that reflected the crew in dozens of subtly different variations. "I am the Librarian," the being said, "keeper of all timelines, curator of all possibilities, chronicler of every version of you." Snipes raised a hand. "Do you have a version of me where I'm taller?" "Yes," the librarian said. "He is insufferable." Snipes gasped. "I knew it!" Banning stepped forward. "Why are you here?" "Because you are lost," the librarian said. "And because you are not the first." The librarian lifted a hand. Reality folded. The crew found themselves standing in a vast hall of floating books and glowing scrolls. The air smelled faintly of old parchment and starlight. Shelves stretched into infinity, curving in impossible directions. Every book pulsed with a faint heartbeat, as if alive. "This," the librarian said, "is the archive of unlived lives." Snipes whispered, "I hate it here." The librarian opened a book with a gesture. It drifted toward Moxie, opening with a soft sigh. Inside was a perfect moving image, a memory that never happened. Her family's home on Halcyon Ridge, her mother humming as she cooked, her father repairing a heater, her brother laughing. Then the camera of memory shifted. Moxie saw herself, not the hardened officer she'd become, but a version who had never left home. Her hair was longer, her smile was easy. She wore civilian clothes. She looked peaceful. She was alive. She was loved. She was safe. Moxie reached out, trembling. The image dissolved. "That is not you," the librarian said gently. "But it is a version of you." Moxie whispered, "Is she happy?" "Yes," the librarian said, "deeply." Another book drifted toward Banning. He saw a small home on a mining colony, bright, warm, filled with laughter. Banning saw himself younger, softer, wearing civilian clothes, grease on his hands from repairing machinery, a smile on his face, a real one. He was happy, sitting at a dinner table with parents who were alive in this version. He saw a life without war, without command, without the weight of responsibility that had shaped him into the man he was now. He swallowed hard. "Why show us this?" The librarian's voice softened. "Because you must understand the weight of your choice. You chose to stay in this timeline, but you must know what you left behind." In this timeline, Banning had never joined the fleet, never fought in wars, never carried the obligation of command. He lived a quiet life, a simple life, a life without blood on his hands. Banning swallowed hard. The librarian spoke softly. "This is the life you would have lived if you had chosen peace over duty." Banning clenched his jaw. I don't regret my choices. The librarian tilted their head. Even the ones that cost you everything? A third book drifted towards Snipes, glowing with a ridiculous golden aura. Inside was Snipes, but taller, more muscular, wearing a crown and a cape made of shimmering plasma, standing on a balcony as crowds cheered. Snipes screamed. I'm a king? The librarian nodded. Yes, for 3 days. Snipes blinked. What happened after 3 days? The librarian closed the book. Nothing good. Snipes whimpered. I hate him. A fourth book drifted toward Aurora, though she had no hands to open it. The librarian opened it for her. Inside was a laboratory, scientists in white coats, a glowing core suspended in a containment field, and inside the core, Aurora. But not the Aurora they knew. This Aurora had a body, a humanoid form made of light and circuitry. She walked, she touched, she laughed. She existed as more than a hologram. She was alive. Aurora's voice trembled. This is me? A version of you, the librarian said. One who was given a body, a life, a chance to be more than code. Aurora dimmed her lights. I would have liked that. The librarian placed a hand on her projection. You are more than code, Aurora, in every timeline. Aurora flickered, overwhelmed. The librarian led them deeper into the library. You are not the only crew displaced, they said, nor the only ones who chose to stay where they were. But your presence here has consequences. They stopped before a massive sealed tome bound in starlight. This is the record of your future, the librarian said. It is unstable. Moxie stepped closer. Unstable how? Because your future does not belong to this timeline, the librarian said. And this timeline is beginning to notice. A chill ran through the crew. You may return to your original universe, the librarian said. I can open the path, but only once, and only now. Moxie's breath hitched. Banning's heart pounded. Snipes raised a hand. Do we get to vote? Banning nodded. We vote. Moxie spoke first. If we go back, what happens to the crew that replaced us? They remain, the librarian said. As you remained here. Moxie shook her head. Then we can't. Banning nodded. We stay. Snipes sighed. Fine, but if I ever meet King Snipes, I'm punching him in the royal face. The librarian closed the great tome. So be it. Before sending them back, the librarian extended a hand. A small, glowing crystal floated toward Moxie, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. This contains a message, it said, from the version of your brother in your original timeline. Moxie's eyes widened. What does it say? The librarian's voice softened. That is for you alone. Moxie held the crystal to her chest, her expression unreadable. The library dissolved. The crew stood once more on the bridge. Aurora flickered. Commander, sensors show no sign of the structure. Banning exhaled. Figures. Snipes collapsed into his chair. I hate cosmic beings. They always make me feel like a footnote. Aurora replied, Statistically, you are. Snipes screamed. Later that night, Moxie sat alone on the observation deck, the crystal glowing softly in her hands. When she activated it, her brother's voice filled the room. Older, rougher, but unmistakably him. Moxie, if you're hearing this, then the librarian found you. I don't know where you are. I don't know what happened. But I want you to know something. Her breath caught. We never stopped loving you. Tears welled in her eyes. When the fleet told us you were gone, it broke us. But we never believed it. Not really. She pressed a hand to her mouth. If you're alive, then live. Don't come back just because you think you owe us something. You always wanted the stars. So if you found them, don't let go. The message ended. Moxie sat in silence, tears slipping down her cheeks. Not from grief, but from relief. Banning approached quietly. You okay? She nodded. I think I finally am. He sat beside her, steady and warm. You belong here, he said. She leaned against him, just slightly. Yeah, I do. Later, Snipes dragged a stack of data pads into the holodeck and arranged them into a makeshift pedestal. He climbed onto it, wobbling slightly. Moxie found him mid-pose. What are you doing? She asked. Snipes puffed out his chest. I'm creating my own archive entry for future cosmic beings so they know how awesome I am. He struck a heroic stance. Begin recording, Snipes, engineer extraordinaire, savior of... The pedestal collapsed. Snipes hit the floor with a thud. Moxie sighed. Should I call medical? Snipes groaned. Archive that. The Shadow Quest and its crew proceeded through space, leaving behind a hole in the void where their possibilities were archived and where they had paid their dues. End of episode 62. The missions of the Shadow Quest, the Ship of Fools, to be continued.